Hello, Father Fred here. We learned in chapter 27, it was the J source, and it was going to a place called Haran. In chapter 28, it was going to change, and it's going to be Padan Haram, and is where they're going to, and that is in the priestly source. So we're going from the priestly source to back to the southern, which is J source. In chapter 27, it's the J, and it uses the word Lord and also Haran. And in the chapter 28, it jumps to the P source, or the priest, and it's going to Padam Haran. Now, if you're just starting, go first to chapter 1 in my profile, and it's going to make a whole lot more sense to you than if you just come in right now in the middle of this chapter. And you know, this last week we got the playoffs going in football, and Notre Dame won their second game in the playoffs. They beat Georgia, and that's a big team. So this Thursday we're going to play Penn State, so we need to win that also. Now, back in chapter 27, it was a bad day for Esau, and a bad day for Jacob because he was such a crook. And he had to get out of there because Esau found out that he had tricked him, and he had taken advantage of him and got his blessing. And so he's angry, and he's going to kill him. So his mama, Rebecca, says, go up to Haran and stay with my brother Laban. So she's going to get him up there to Laban. And now, and in this one, Esau is really angry. But when we go to chapter 28, it changes to the priestly source, and they're going to Padam Haran, not Haran, but Padam Aram. And that tells you that it's from the priestly source. So we're going now back to chapter 29, and we're going to go back to the J source, and they're going to be going to Haran again. So let's go to chapter 29, to verse 1, and now Jacob is arriving in Haran. And here's what he's going to find. This is verse 1. Open your Bibles to chapter 29, to verse 1. And we read, After Jacob resumed his journey, he came to the land of the Kedemites. And verse 2, looking about, he saw a well in the open country with 3 flocks of sheep huddled near it, for flocks were watered from that well. A large stone covered the mouth of the well. Now, the reason that he's going in this one, in chapter 29, is not because Esau's mad. Esau's calmed down. He seems to be perfectly fine now. But Jacob is going there to get himself a wife. It's not to run away from Esau. So now here's what they come to. Looking around, he saw a well in the open country. Now, remember who else went up there to get a wife? Abraham sent his servant to get a wife for his son, Isaac. And they went to Laban, to that family. They're going to keep this marriage in the family. So, and they come to a well. And it was a well that where the servant met the bride for Isaac. Looking about, he saw a well in the open country, with 3 flocks of sheep huddled near it. For flocks were watered from that well. A large stone covered the mouth of the well. The water is at a premium, they keep it a large stone over it, and it takes several people to move it until Jacob gets there and shows how strong he is. So they're coming there to the flocks, and this is just like when Abraham's servant comes and finds Rebekah. Now, Rebekah, remember, is the mother of Jacob and of Esau. And it all took place right around the well, right where he got there. When the servant got there, he had to get this little phrase that he'd memorized about, give me some water, and she gave him some water, and I'll water your camels also. So maybe this is the same well. It's certainly at Laban's house. Verse 3, when all the shepherds were assembled there, they would roll the stone away from the mouth of the well and water the sheep. It looks like they had to get several shepherds to move this stone, a big stone. Then they would put the stone back again in its place to cover the mouth of the well, so that the water, for safety, nobody would fall in there, but also so that the water would not be ruined by somebody or dry up from evaporation. Verse 4, Jacob said to them, now he's here, he's at the well, and he sees the shepherd. Jacob said to them, my brothers. That's kind of familiar, isn't it? He walks up and meets them and doesn't know who they are. He says, my brothers. Where are you from? And they say, we are from Haran. We are in the J source with Haran. The rider from the south is what the J source means. We are from Haran, they replied. Then he asked them, do you know Laban, son of Nahor? We do, they answered. He inquired further, is he well? He is, they answered, and here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep. Now, just like Abraham's servant found Rebekah, and now we're going to have the Jacob to find Rachel, and this verse tells us what it's about. He replied further, is he well? He is, they answered, and here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep. Now Rachel's going to catch his eye right off the bat. Verse 7, then he said, there's still much daylight left. It's hardly the time to bring the animals home, water the sheep, and then continue pasturing them. But verse 8 says, they replied, we cannot until all the shepherds are here. They can't do it by themselves. They've got to have a lot of shepherds. We've got to read that again. They replied, we cannot until all the shepherds are here to roll the stone away from the mouth of the well. Took a lot of them. Then, only then, can we water the flocks. Verse 9. While he was still talking with them, Rachel arrived with her father's sheep. This is going to be the future wife. For she was the one who tended them. Of course, if she's the one that takes care of them, you'd expect if she's bringing the sheep, she's going to be the one that takes care of them. Verse 10. As soon as Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of his mother's brother, Laban, and the sheep of Laban, he went up, and look what he does. He rolled the stone away. Doesn't need any help. It sounds like maybe he's showing off some. He rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well and watered Laban's sheep. So this is a little bit opposite. In the one with Isaac, when he got Rebekah, Rebekah got water for the man. Now he's getting water for the sheep. Then Jacob, and this is pretty quick. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. He is so happy that he's found this wife that he wept aloud. And he just remember back with Rebekah, Abraham's servant, he put gold on her wrists and something gold in her nose, and then he told him what he was planning on doing. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. Now that's what you call a fast courtship. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative, Rebekah's son. So she ran to tell her father. When Laban heard the news about Jacob, now remember, Laban is deceitful, so the whole family is. But he is going to try to take advantage. He liked Isaac because they had brought a lot of gold. So he was happy for his sister, Rebekah, to marry Isaac. Now, he's also going to he's going to get a real good deal out of this. When Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, he ran to meet him. They run all the time, sounds like. After embracing and kissing him, he brought him to his house. And Jacob then repeated to Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, "You are indeed bone and my flesh." We would say we're related, we're flesh and bone. This one is bone and my flesh. Now we're going to find out he wants to marry Rachel. He is in for a surprise. After Jacob had stayed with him a full month, he's been there a month now, trying to figure out, what's the best way for me to get this girl? Verse 15 says, Laban said to him, "Should you serve me for nothing just because you are a relative of mine?" He's setting him up. He's acting like he's going to be good-hearted. "Tell me what your wages should be." And he knows that Jacob's been eyeing Rebekah. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The older one was called Leah, and the younger one was Rachel. He likes the younger one. Leah had dull eyes. Now that's the expression we don't use. But you see the next word is but. But means what has happened before, the opposite is going to happen later. Just like, I'm going to town, but you stay here. The word but shows opposite. So we see this, verse 17. Leah had dull eyes, but Rachel was shapely and beautiful. So this dull eyes is an expression that means she's not the prettiest thing in town. Verse 18. Because Jacob loved Rachel, he answered, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter, Rachel." That is a long time. That is, but he's bringing this on himself. Now he's been deceived, and he has deceived his daddy. Now he's going to get deceived. Verse 18, again, because Jacob loved Rachel, not Leah, he answered, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter, Rachel." Now 7 doesn't just mean a number between 6 and 8. It means perfection. And this is going to be a perfect wife that he wants to get. Laban replied, "It is better to give her to you than to another man. Y'all just keep it in the family. Stay with me. You can stay with me." That's sure nice of him, isn't it? He's going to get free labor for 7 years. And that's not going to be the end of it. Verse 20. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, yet they seemed to him like a few days because of his love for her. Now, when I was in love with my wife, 7 years would not seem like a short time. The more you love somebody, the more you want to be with them right away. It's not like this verse says, so Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, yet they seemed to him like a few days. A few days to me, before I married my wife, felt like years or months. Verse 21, then Jacob said to Laban, he's done it now, he's 37 years, "Give me my wife, that I may consummate my marriage with her, for my term is now completed." 7 years are up. That was a tremendous price that Laban, the deceitful one, is deceiving the one that deceived his daddy. We say in English, what goes around comes around. Verse 22. So Laban invited all the local inhabitants and gave a banquet. Going to have a big party, but it's not going to come out what he thinks. Verse 23. At nightfall, he took his daughter Leah, not Rachel, Leah, and brought her to Jacob, and he consummated the marriage with her. Now, Does he not know the difference between Leah with the dull eyes and his shapely and beautiful girl that he liked, that he wanted to marry? Maybe at the banquet he had a little too much to drink. Or maybe before, when she came at night, she had on a veil. But for some reason, well, this is what the writer wants to write it this way, just for suspense. He married Leah, not Rachel. He's worked 7 years to get Rachel, and now somebody else slipped in there. Verse 24, Laban assigned his maidservant Zilpah to his daughter Leah as her maidservant. So as she goes to be with her husband, she has a maidservant to come with her. Verse 25, in the morning there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, how could you do this to me? What's going on? This is not the one I wanted. Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why did you deceive me? I wonder if he was thinking about what he did to his daddy and his brother Esau as he deceived them. Verse 26 says, Laban replied, it is not the custom in our country to give the younger daughter before the firstborn. You got to give the firstborn first, but he never mentioned that. He let Jacob think he's going to get that younger daughter. Verse 27, finish the bridal week for this one, and then the other will also be given to you in return for another 7 years of service with me. Laban. He's going to get 14 years of service just so that he gets his wife. Jacob did so, and he finished the bridal week for the one, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Rachel is going to be the favorite. It's supposed to have been the one he married in the first place. 29. Laban assigned his maidservant Bilhah. So each one has a maidservant. Leah and Rachel. Verse 29 again. Laban assigned his maidservant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her maidservant. And verse 30. Jacob then consummated his marriage with Rachel also, and he loved her more than Leah. Thus he served Laban another 7 years. 14 years he worked to get that wife. We might not have as many marriages here if we had to work for 14 years to get somebody. Now we're going to start having children. And these children are going to be important because later on we're going to read there are 12 tribes of Israel, and those 12 tribes are going to come from these 12 children, 10 of his children and 2 grandchildren. Here are the children. Verse 31. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he made her fruitful while Rachel was barren. Does that sound familiar? Remember that Sarah was barren, but Hagar could have children. And that didn't set well with Sarah, and it's not going to set too well with Rachel either. Verse 32. Leah conceived and bore a son, and she named him Reuben. Reuben is going to be one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Named him Reuben. For she said it means, now this one word Reuben, it means all of this. The Lord saw my misery, surely now my husband will love me. She named him Reuben because that's what it means, that whole sentence. The Lord, and when you see the word Lord, you know it's from the south. It's from, we call it the Yahweh or the J source, because J and Jehovah start with J. That one word means, the Lord saw my misery, surely now my husband will love me. Verse 33. She conceived again and bore a son, and she said, it means, the Lord heard that I was unloved, and therefore he has given me this one also. So she named him Simeon. So the word Simeon for her means all of this. It means, the Lord heard that I was unloved, and therefore he has given me this one also. So she named him Reuben. The third child is going to be a special one in a certain way. In verse 34, again she conceived and bore a son, and she said, now at last my husband will become attached to me, since I have now borne him 3 sons. That is why she named him Levi. Now Levi is going to be special. He's going to be the head of a priest. They're going to be called the Levite priests. But look what Levi means. It means this. Now at last my husband will become attached to me, since I have now borne him 3 sons. And so she named him Levi. Levi meant all of that. Verse 35. Once more she conceived and bore a son, and she said, this time I will give thanks to the Lord. Finally, she's going to give thanks to the Lord. Therefore she named him Judah. Judah is going to be the line that Jesus is going to come from. Then she stopped bearing children. She stopped bearing children for this moment. And in the next chapters, we're going to find more children, but they're going to be by the maid servants. And finally, God's going to allow Rachel to have a couple. And those 2 that they're going to be special, the ones that Rachel has, because Rachel is the one that Jacob really loved. So if you courted your wife and you decided, the 2 of you finally decided to get married, do you think you would have still married her if you'd have had to work 7 years or maybe even 14 years to get her? I don't know if I'd ever gotten married. I don't know if I could work 14 years either with the sheep. Well, I'm glad you listened to and watched this video. And remember, the one way to make the most sense of it is go to my profile and go to chapter 1, episode 1, and it'll explain to you what we're talking about with the J source and the P source and the source, one writer from the south and one from the north. And you have a beautiful day, beautiful week, and let's see if Notre Dame can beat Penn State. God bless you.